So there's been a fresh Apple event.
Apple!
Turns out Apple is shifting gears a little bit. They're moving into services in a big way. They want some more of your money. Can you blame them? I can't. That's kind of what they do. They're a business after all. But for a long time, the focus has been solely on the hardware, at least mostly on the hardware. You buy an iPhone, you buy a MacBook, you buy an iPad, and they leave you alone. We all know the smartphone marketplace, it's slowed down a little bit. It's a little bit less red hot compared to what it used to be. And so because of that, there was speculation for a while that Apple was going to diversify its product offerings in the form of services. And that's what this event was all about. Apple wants you to subscribe to a billion things, starting with Apple News Plus.
I love the feeling of being at the newsstand.
That's the thing, right? With the magazines?
We're bringing magazines to Apple News.
Newsstand. I don't know the last time I read a magazine. I don't know about you, but I guess they want to participate in this throwback. They want to boost up some of those traditional brand names in news and magazines. And some of these have their own subscription fees previously associated with them. They're trying to put it all in one place. So you have this News Plus subscription. You pay them $10 a month. It feels a bit odd to me because obviously so much of our consumption now, it happens on the internet, on the relatively open internet, with the exception of a few locations, a few sources like the New York Times. You pay some money for that to get past the paywall. But nonetheless, Apple is dipping their toe in the News Plus pond, river, stream, and they're looking for $10 a month. But that's just the start of it. It doesn't end there, okay? Beyond News Plus, they're going to get into your finances as well. So they got your news. Now they're your bank. That's kind of weird. Well, not exactly your bank, your credit card, I should say. They launched something called Apple Card. And to me, this is probably the most interesting thing they announced as far as the services are concerned because, credit cards for the most part, not a particularly innovative segment or product category. Well, Apple has this card that's integrated with Apple Pay, even though it will be a physical card as well, which is going to give you cash back on purchases, allow you to track and see graphs of your spending, and supposedly authorize you for access to this credit card within moments right on your smartphone. If you're unfamiliar with the finances, business, banking, and so on, credit cards, they earn money through interest, through you carrying a balance, through the creation of debt. That's how the business operates. So the way I envision this now is that Apple, they can create a bunch of debt right in the store, in the Apple store. You could be there. It's like, I really like that new laptop. And they're like, you know what? You don't need to pay for this today. We'll give you the Apple Card. All right, pay for it later. No problemo. 3% cash back. Why would you not use our card? I imagine a tremendous amount of debt creation through this particular product. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but let's not get it twisted. Apple has an agenda here. It's a money-making proposition, and this is going to generate revenue for them in the form of interest payments. Next up, they're going to continue into the gaming realm. Apple has their own service here called Arcade, which does appear to be a type of Netflix for gaming. These are mobile games by the looks of it, though your subscription will grant you access to 100 titles, which you can then download, play offline if you want to, and across multiple devices. But they are mobile-oriented games. They work on iPad, iPhone, and then the Mac sort of seems like an afterthought. This is going to come down to the games. Because they're not AAA titles, it's not Assassin's Creed or Doom or anything like that. If the games are good, the service is going to be good. They did not announce a price, but if there's some compelling titles in there, I can see this being popular for a certain subset of casual gamers. But it's different than Stadia in the sense that it's not going after the next degree of gamer, those looking for the AAA titles. All right, next up, things start to get confusing at this point in the presentation because we're talking about the TV product, Apple TV, which is an actual product. It's a box you can put under your TV. That's called an Apple TV. Then there's the app, Apple TV, and then there's Apple TV Plus, which is kind of like an app within the app. So Apple wants Apple TV, the app, to be your kind of hub for all your entertainment. They built it into some smart TVs to get you started, but of course it'll also operate on all of your Apple devices, whether it's the phone, the iPad, and even on the Mac, actually, for the first time. So this is like an amalgamation of your cable subscriptions, your independent subscriptions to channels like HBO, and then Apple-specific content like TV Plus if you choose to add that as well. They're even going to make the Apple TV app available for Fire TV and Roku. So they really want you to use this thing. They're blasting it everywhere. All right, now next up, things get wild. I don't even know how to describe what happened next within the keynote.
Apple!
They just started marching celebrities out. Lights on, lights off, Tim Cook, celebrity, Big Bird. It was unpredictable. It was very bizarre. Almost like endorsements, like, hey, we're attached to Steven Spielberg. We got Reese Witherspoon. That's Jennifer Aniston. We're Apple. Things are happening. By the way, here's Oprah. Like, they told you, I guess, what the shows they were working on were going to be like, but there were no trailers, no teasers, at least not comprehensive ones to showcase what they've been working on. Presumably, Apple is spending a boatload of cash to get into the content business, similar to something like Netflix. Now, I'm skeptical of what they're going to be able to achieve here, especially since they didn't talk about a cost in this case as well. Like, how much can you really charge for these Apple originals? What are people willing to pay? It's going to be ad-free, subscription service, exclusive Apple originals, available in 100 plus countries and coming in the fall. Let's do a quick breakdown. Why does this matter? What is Apple trying to do here? Well, I talked earlier about the fact that, phone sales in general, smartphone sales, tech sales, and so on, they've kind of stagnated a little bit. And as a company like Apple matures, they got to figure out new ways to profit. The companies they're up against, like Amazon, Google, and so on, are really diversified. Now, Apple has the hardware piece fairly well figured out. So how can they just plug in some new monetization streams? If they've already got a $1,000 phone in your pocket, well, why not get your credit card? Why not get your content subscription? I mean, if we're talking about having each one of these subscriptions from Apple, like, what is your monthly fee looking like? You got iCloud, you got News Plus, you got TV Plus, and they still expect you to have the Hulu and Amazon Prime subscription when they showcased the regular Apple TV app. It's like, wow, it's getting out of hand here. I don't know how many people are prepared for all of these subscriptions. Tim Cook's trying to print some money. They want all your money. If you got any left over at the end of the month, Apple will happily take it. Let me ask you a question. Are you walking in, are you marching into an Apple store to get an Apple credit card to buy an Apple MacBook? Is that you? Or are you a little bit nervous here? Are you a little bit skeptical? Are you sick of subscriptions? Are you done with it? Are you like, Lou, I'm already subscribed out of control here. I got to cut back on my subscriptions, not add more. I mean, think about it right now. You could have YouTube Premium, you could have Netflix, you could have a wide variety of subscriptions as it stands, and Apple seems to want a dozen more. So you tell me, subscription fatigue, do you feel it? Or are you up for a couple more? Let me know in the comments.